I guess I would just encourage people to not be so political, religious, and dogmatic about this.
So we got a lot of diet talk today. We'll cover 4 of the diets: keto, carnivore, vegan, and Mediterranean. We're going to evaluate each diet through a framework, which is what are its strengths?
If you do keto with real whole food, I think you're going to find the pounds just pour off. I think almost without exception, people that go on a carnivore diet experience a dramatic improvement in blood sugar. I think one of the big advantages here is that plant foods are generally, less calorie dense than animal foods. I think it's very difficult not to point to some version of a Mediterranean diet because it's simply the one for which we have the best data.
And then we'll look at its weaknesses.
One of the ones that most people don't appreciate is protein adequacy. I think you can be deficient in a number of micronutrients. It requires being very deliberate. And then, of course, we have that whole other issue with the ApoB issue.
To do it in a way that doesn't really talk about everyone should follow this diet or this diet or this diet, but instead understand the pros, cons, how to think about diets, and put it into their own life. And we'll close with practical takeaways.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Drive Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Attia.
Peter, welcome to another Ask Me Anything. How you feeling?
I'm honored to be back. Thank you for having me.
Do you ever think about just sleeping in the podcast studio so you can just be ready at any given moment if we need you to record something?
I think there are times when my wife would like that.
We should just, on the other side of the table in the studio, just put a tent, and every now and then you and the boys just camp in the studio.
Could work. That could work. Speaking of the boys, quick chess update. We had a little chess tournament, in-house chess tournament this weekend. And I made it to the finals with my youngest boy. And I was playing kind of a bananas game, like really kind of playing lights out chess. And again, this is the one that loves to trash talk. So it was awesome. And then I made this idiotic blunder. And in a second, the game changed. And 5 moves later, it's checkmate against me. And I was like, God, this is why I love and hate this game so much.
I do love that you started this by bragging about making it to the finals of an in-house chess tournament, which composed of 3 people.
No. There were a few others. There were some other people in the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was you and the 2 boys, both under 11. And I was like, it's kind of audacious to brag about making it to the finals of a 3-person chess tournament, 2 of which can't even drive yet, but all your own. Okay. That's good to hear there was more people involved. Yeah. The bigger question is, when you lost that game, did any pieces go flying through the air?
It happened one time, Nick. One time. I'll never live it down.
One time during this chess tournament?
No. It only happened that one time. I am not a chess piece thrower, ordinarily.
That's because Mama Attia put her foot down.
That's true.
I do like it. Have you gotten Jill to start playing chess yet?
0 chance Jill will ever play chess.
I don't know. I mean, never say never. You sometimes do things that you said you never were going to do in the past. So you kind of never know. I mean, much like this AMA, which is all on not only your favorite meta topic, but your favorite micro topic, which is not only is this nutrition focused, but it's diet specific focused, which anyone who's listened to this for a while knows maybe not your favorite topic to cover, but I think it's going to be really good. Here's why. We get a ton of question on diets, and I think it's because there's so much information in the ether on diets. And so what we did is we gathered those questions, we went to the audience, asked for questions, combined them all, organized them, and we're going to structure them in this way, which is the goal here is to not be a nutrition AMA, which we've done before, which we can link. It's much more to focus on diets. And to do it in a way that doesn't really talk about everyone should follow this diet or this diet or this diet, and not to kind of join the tribal battles that people see, but instead really just take a pragmatic listen and really identify how can anyone listening to this understand the pros, cons, how to think about diets, and put it into their own life. And so in it, we want to give people a framework to evaluate a dietary approach, whether you follow the same one now that you did years ago or you change in the future. To do that, we'll start by laying out the 5 non-negotiables that you think any diet must address. So no matter if it's vegan or carnivore, what are the approaches that they all should follow? And then we're going to evaluate each diet through a framework, which is what are the core requirements for that diet to work? What are its strengths, including who is it best suited for? Because oftentimes we've talked is sometimes there's going to be different diets that are better for different people. So what is that and why is that? And then we'll look at its weaknesses, which is if someone's going to follow a diet, what are some of the pitfalls and how can they be addressed and how can they avoid those? And then with that framework, we'll cover 4 of the diets that are asked about us the most, seem to be talked about the most, and paint the broadest picture, which is keto, carnivore, vegan, and Mediterranean. And we'll close with practical takeaways. So we got a lot of diet talk today. Anything you want to add before we roll into it?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good setup. I'll add two unrelated comments. The first is, yeah, you pointed out how much I just generally don't enjoy this subject matter. And the reason for it is it tends to very quickly degrade into sort of tribal religious discussions as opposed to sort of scientific discussions. And there tends to be almost a morality that comes out of this, which I just, frankly don't think belongs in the space. But, at the convincing of many listeners and our team sort of have reluctantly decided that it's worth doing. And I think that sort of feeds into the second point, which is I came into this sort of kicking and screaming, not wanting to do it. But I think Josh Roche on our team did a great job of pointing out, Peter, you're not doing this for the extremes, right? You're not doing this for the extremists in each of these camps. Like you're not doing this for someone who is so hardcore in a dietary camp that they believe that their diet is the one true diet and anyone who doesn't eat that way is an awful human being. Like you're not trying to talk that person off that perch. You're doing this for, frankly, the 87% of people who are confused, who are in the middle, who don't quite know what to do, who have tried this and they're not sure if it makes sense, but they're, so I think that was a very helpful framing for me because it's very easy for me to focus on the fanatics, and the fanatics across all lenses really turn me off. But as long as I just keep in my mind that I'm not talking to those people, I'm here for virtually everybody else, which fortunately is the majority of people who just kind of want some common sense frameworks for how to evaluate these dietary strategies. So with that said, I feel a little bit better about it.
That's great. I imagine you'd feel even better if you won that in-house chess tournament, but it's probably always good to have a chip on your shoulder.
Don't think we're not having a rematch, and don't think I am not going to put a world of hurt on that little 7-year-old.
In chess. Just to clarify.
By the way, right. he spent the rest of the weekend walking around the house telling everybody how he smoked my bags. You couldn't help but laugh.
You have to.
Yeah.
Especially because it sounds like he did. Sounds like he just put you in his pocket.
Yep. We could talk about that all day.
Well, we'll save that for the 7-year-old roundtable we still need to set up. All right. So maybe before we start, we've kind of mentioned quickly, we did a nutrition AMA somewhat recently. We'll link to it. Do you just kind of want to walk through how you think about nutrition and diets a little differently?
Yeah. So the nutrition AMA, which was released, I think it was December of last year, it covered the big picture questions. Is there a best diet? How does nutrition compare to exercise for health outcomes? How much protein do you actually need for maintenance versus muscle growth? But it didn't really delve into, I think, the way most people think about it, which is individual dietary approaches. Now, in the past, I've said, look, people should pick a diet that they can stick to and that meets a certain list of non-negotiable physiologic states and needs. But how to exactly go about doing that. We haven't talked about that, frankly. And frankly, what should people watch out for? How do you make a decision and know if it's the right choice for you? Thank you for viewing this sneak peek of an Ask Me Anything episode of The Drive. As a premium member, you'll get immediate access to the full AMA episode you just watched a sneak peek for, our entire back catalog of AMA episodes, and all future AMA episodes. You'll get longevity-focused premium articles packed with actionable insights. You'll get unrivaled show notes for each and every episode of The Drive, and much more. Become a premium member today at peterattiamd.com/subscribe.